Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your elemental energy reading for April for the element of water, which covers the zodiac signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. If you've never had your charts read, there is a link in the description to a natal chart. It's not sponsored or anything like that, but you can check that out. It's just a tool available if you're interested. It's not really expensive, which is nice, but it gives you your base 12 houses and a definition for all those little signs and symbols, 10 to 20 pages worth, and there's a section in there that's on elemental energies. And if you're interested in any of the decks or books that I'm using, those are linked in the description, and those are affiliate links. So if you're purchasing through those, that does help the channel out. With that, we will get started. I cast your hexagram before the video. And water, you have the I-ching hexagram number 31, and it is called Attraction and Sensation. This could be an interesting month for water. Attraction, success, righteous persistence brings reward. Taking a wife will result in good fortune. Taking a spouse, insert term that you prefer. But attraction and success and the righteous persistence brings reward. This is sticking to that core values, your morals, your ethics, the things that make you a better person, and that's sometimes not as easy to explain for other people. Like, we all know, you're not supposed to hurt other people, but that's, most people think physically. There's a lot to morals and ethics. But what it's saying is, if you stick to your morals, your code of ethics, and your personal code of conduct within your spiritual path, that's what's going to bring your reward. And taking a wife will result in good fortune. If you have a partner that you have along the path of life, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, whatever, this is where things can actually amplify. You're still going to have good success, is what I'm hearing. But if you have a partner in that, things are going to go even better. So let's break down our lines. Our foundational line here on the bottom, sensation in the toe. So this is really wanting to imply that you're going to start to notice the success from the outside. Like the toe is an extremity, it's like your fingers. And you're going to notice that things are doing better from outside. You're going to have it happening within, but you're going to notice it outside. And it's going to be at a distance. It's not going to be like your next door neighbor's having success. It's going to be something that you've been working on, but all of a sudden you're like, wait, that's falling into place over there. So be aware that it may not happen quick, but it's going to happen. Our second place line, sensation in the legs, misfortune. Good fortune comes to those who do not venture forth. So this is wanting to say, you want to make sure you're doing the right thing for the right reason. If you're just getting success to be like, I'm better than other people, you're going to fail. And that's where the misfortune comes in. You want to make sure that you're doing things for the best possible reason. If you're not sure, that's where it says, good fortune comes to those who do not venture forth. If you're not sure, pause. Take a minute, see where you're at, see what's going on, check in with yourself, what is going on inside. But that's what they're really saying, is you don't want to do this for the wrong reason. Everyone wants success, but you want success for the right reasons. So, our third place line, sensation in the thighs. He cleaves so closely to his wife, girlfriend, husband, whatever, that for him to continue in this manner would be shameful. And this kind of implies you want things to happen yesterday. You're feeling busy, and you also don't want to be you want to be with the person. They need to be working with you, but if they happen to be pulling you back, like it says, he cleaves so closely to his wife that to continue would be shameful. In other words, you don't want someone who's pulling you back. You want someone who's beside you, not pulling back on you like, no, stay over here with me. If you're not going to come with me, move. And that's what this is saying. You're feeling restless, like you want it all done yesterday. But you also don't want to be drugged back or distracted. Cleaves so closely to his spouse, and in here it talks about this could be a wife or a subordinate, someone who's not on the same focus as you, trying to drag you back, trying to influence you away from your goals. And that's why you want someone who's with you, not pulling you back behind you. So that can be a trick, by the way. Your fourth place line, righteous persistence brings good fortune, regret vanishes. Only friends and immediate followers will waste their thoughts on those who dither irresolutely to and fro. So you want to make sure with this one, the energy that's coming in, that righteous persistence again, that righteous path, that morals, code of ethics, and how you carry yourself in the world, you want to make sure that's your focus. And regret will disappear. You're not going to be carrying that around because you know you're doing the right thing for the right reason. That second line, sensation in the legs, misfortune, you want to make sure what you're doing is correct. You want to make sure what you're doing is for the right reasons. If you've not figured out what your why is, this is a good time to do that. Because once you figure that out, that's the righteous persistence will bring in this good fortune. Any regret, am I doing the right thing? Gone. Don't have to worry about that anymore. And friends and immediate followers will waste their thoughts on the one who dithers irresolutely to and fro. If you're confident and you're going, people who are with you, your friends, the people following you, your subordinates, if you're a manager at work, they're going to go with you without question. If you are showing, I know this is what I want to do, but oh no, I don't know what I'm doing, they're going to start to question what your goals are. Is this person really going to step up? Is this person really going to do the thing? Is that an easy way to live? No. And water, this is where making sure that you're sticking to your core values is going to actually be the best possible option for you. Your fifth place line, sensation in the fleshy covering of the spinal column. Anyway, no regret. And so this is saying that chills up and down your spine. Things are going the right way. You don't have to regret, but you can't control everyone else's movement because the flesh of your spine, the skin and the meat, really doesn't do anything. It's there to support. Your spine is what's making the decision, and if the spine is too stiff, then it doesn't matter what's going on. And what it's saying is, this is saying you don't want to be too firm in how you lead this group. You're leading, you're not forcing, you're not managing. You're trying to inspire them to come with you. If you try to force, it's not going to work. Like if you're trying to force something along the spinal column, it's really not going to work. You're going to hurt everything involved. So you want to encourage it. Like with yoga, you're loosening the spine. You're not forcing it, forcing bad things. So our capstone here, sensation in the jaw and tongue. And this is saying when you open your consciousness, things are going to come in. But your success is not tied to how much you talk, which is funny coming from someone who does internet stuff. Your success comes from head down, mouth shut, core values, lead on. That's where your goals are this month for water. Now, we'll see what the cards have to say, but that's a pretty good basis for life in general, water, especially water, because of the emotions that can pop up with the water elemental energies. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces all have very strong ties to water energy and emotions, and that can be a little intense at times. So what this is saying is, if you can understand that's a whole big part of who you are, but you stick to this core value that you've learned through your own spiritual development and growth, things are going to go a lot better for you. So with that, we're going to hop into our cards. If you see something different, I read intuitively, than what I'm bringing forward with the cards, feel free to comment and let me know that down below. While you're down there, hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. With that, we will hop into the reading. So each week I read week by week. So there's 5 weeks, give or take, in April. Each week we look at a guide or guardian, a message from source, and then a message from the tarot, which is usually a little more clarification or maybe some information of something that's coming in that we need to be aware of. So water, this dragon is for the first week. Your guide or guardian is number 30 with the dolphin. This is related to the dolphins and the whales. There's a whale down here. And this is really saying this is a record-keeping energy. This is where you tap into this higher knowledge. Going back to that core values and beliefs, this is getting back to the truth of who you are and how you show up in the world. And this dragon can actually help you understand that, especially coming out of the water. It's also, there's an energy of emotional healing that's coming in with this, and also an energy of being able to properly communicate. Sometimes we don't need to use words to communicate. Sometimes we can communicate just as well through actions. And the Delphin is coming in to calling on water's natural abilities and traits and showing us a little bit better on how to use those in the day-to-day life. Your message from Source is ride the waves, life lessons and growth. You will get through this. This month has a challenge or two in it. The I-ching talks about that a little bit, but it's also saying, water, you tend to go with the flow anyway, so this is not going to be a difficult thing for you. It might be you have to ride some white caps every now so often to get through the situation, but overall, it's going to go really well for you. So just stay open to the opportunities and stay adhered to your core value set. Your message from the tarot is number 1 in the major arcana, and I'm feeling very strongly this is a full month one, even though it's in the first week. And it's the Magician with Archangel Raziel. Manifest the life you want. What you need magically appears. Successful beginnings. You have all the tools you need, water. This isn't a question for you. You know what you have, what your abilities are. You know what your capabilities are. You know the tools, the structure, the resources that you need to achieve your success, even on a smaller scale, or it could be a larger scale, depends on what you're doing. You have all of that. And the Magician is coming in to say, don't worry about if you feel like you're missing a piece. Okay, you're aware of it, therefore you know how to gain it. And that's something that you're going to probably be really well suited for this month. Let's hop over to our second week and see who our guide or guardian is here. And this is a kind of a fun deck, just because the dragons are so unique. Your second week is number 3. It is the Transformation Dragon. Kind of looks like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon here. Where the first week was preparing yourself for the month. You were tapping into your natural abilities, you're going with the flow, you're figuring out your skill set, you already know that you have a lot of it. And in the second week, the transformation begins. You're going from a more mundane to a more spiritual life, a more magical life, whatever term you like there, but you're also being called to step forward into that leadership role. We are not talking manager, we are talking leader. A leader is an inherent trait that people have. Some people have it, some people don't. If you don't, fine, you can still train into a version of it. But this transformation is to bring your inner stuff to the outside. Your inner skill set, you're going to bring it out. And that's what's coming up in the second week, is this dragon is saying, water, you have gifts, you have talents, you have abilities that some of you probably know about, or you might be embarrassed to bring them forward. But this dragon is saying, you don't need to be. Source gave you these gifts, these skills, and these abilities to be used to uplift others and yourself as you go forward. So it's time to really allow that stuff to come forward. May not be comfortable, trust me, but it's something you can do. Your message from Source is the sweet waters: sensuality, romance, enjoyment, fertility, balance. Water, you're really going to have a fun week this second week, possibly the rest of the month. This is saying the sweet waters, this is a refreshing thing. It taps into your senses. Sensuality in the West, we tend to think of it as only bedroom activities. But in reality, sensuality is experiencing life fully through your senses. Sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing. All of these things, you bring them all online. If you are sitting down to eat dinner with your partner, turn off the TV, turn off the radio. You can play quiet music with no words if you want. But taste everything. As you're chewing it, what is the feel? What is the smells? How does it look on the plate? If you're holding a silverware, how does it feel? Chopsticks, whatever. What is the texture of your hand? Watching your partner eat, you're in the moment. You're using your senses. That's sensuality. And what it does is it brings you back into the now and allows you to experience life in that moment. It is a weird feeling when you're doing it, when you're sitting like in the park. You're not even eating, you're just sitting there. But you pay attention to how the seat feels that you're sitting on. The wind across your skin, the birds' song in the trees. Focus on your senses and notice how things change. And it does talk about romance, enjoyment, fertility, balance, but the balance is in living in the now moment. The sweet waters energy is coming in to say, water, tap into your values, tap into your core gifts. The things that make you unique are what's going to actually enhance your life. Whether And it doesn't matter if you are a bookworm, if you are a D&D gamer, if you're a biker, if you are the truck guy or gal, it doesn't matter. If that's what lights you up, to go with that. In the second week, that's what's something that's going to make you, they keep showing me attractive, so we're going to go with that word. That's what's going to make you attractive to the people around you. That's going to help inspire that confidence and that leadership, because you're okay being the confident little weirdo that you are. I am. We just have to accept our quirks and then move forward with that. And that's what the sweet water is saying, is when you do that, you start feeling life at that higher frequency. Your message from the tarot is the King of Gabriel, water energy here. Generous, inspirational, dramatic, and driven. That describes, well, especially dramatic and inspirational. That's water in a core. Keep your eyes on the big picture, leave details to others, experiences that lead to success, genuine concern for others. This is been there, done that, King. The kings are always the ones, they can step in if they have to, but they don't need to anymore because they've already done it all. You've achieved all of the energy within your particular suit, in this case, Gabriel's suit, and you don't have to do it. You know how to, and you can guide others. And so that's why you're looking at the big picture, because now you're the leader. Just like it talks about with the I-ching, if you have confidence in your ability to lead, other people are not going to question. They're not going to look around. They're not going to be like, ooh, this person doesn't know what they're doing. I need to find someone else. They're going to see you and be like, I want to do what that person's doing. How can I step into that leadership role? How can I learn? I want to be around this person because they know where they're going. They have the confidence to do what they're doing. And that's the King of Gabriel. And if you are in a position where you're leading, like a manager, leadership, some kind of thing like that, that's where the generosity comes in. You didn't get where you got without learning from others. And I don't care who you are, no one ever learns in a bubble. So share the stuff that you've learned, because it's going to help other people. They're not going to be your competition. Never will. What they're going to do is they're going to take what you teach them and apply it to their own situation, and they're going to grow within their own world. There's no such thing as, they're going to compete for my position. Your position is yours. Even if it's the same title, the way you do it is your unique way. The way they do it's going to be their unique way. Copycat doesn't always succeed. Uniqueness does. So, something to think about. Your third week's guide or guardian is number 21, the Merlin Dragon, which is 3 sevens. So you're in a really good energy here. And Merlin is the protector of the sacred wisdom. If you look to a lot of the Camelot lore, Merlin and Lady of the Lake were the masculine and feminine expressions of divinity in the physical world, and Merlin held the divine masculine secrets. And so when you look at this, you're looking at power, projective power, standing in a leadership position, whether that's leading in the front or leading in the shadows. Merlin did both, and that's this energy that's coming in this third week is, first of all, what kind of leadership are you? Are you the type who can, lead the charge, or are you the person standing in the background helping strategize and work things out so that the people who are doing the work do it in the best possible way with the most success? And once you figure that out, then you get to tap into that masculine energy of, this is what we're going to do. This is how we are going to do it. It's a more projective energy. And I'm not saying male or female. I'm talking about the masculine energy principles here. When you tap into that, you'll step into a leadership role that is appropriate for you. Toxic masculine is doing it without regard. Positive masculine is doing it in the best way possible. So there is a balance there. Your message from Source is the water's carrier. This is kind of Aquarius energy, really. What really matters, reflect and reprioritize. This is where you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing for the right reason. The second week, you are learning and remembering your gifts. This third week is where you start remembering your why. The Merlin Dragon is saying, which version of a leader are you? How do you work in the situations? Where you stand? Are you supportive? Are you out in front? Where are you? But you also have this energy coming in saying, once you understand where you're at, then you have to ask yourself the whys. Why am I doing this? What does my success look like? Why am I hunting for success? And then you get clear on those things, and the universe tends to line up a little bit faster. Water, I feel like this is going to be a month. If you go with the flow, you're going to do well. If you try to control or manipulate the situation, it's not going to go so smoothly for you. And it's just, that's how I'm feeling here. You want to tap into your talents and allow them to guide you. But if your talent is leading from the back, your supportive character, but the person in front can't do what they do without you, and you try to step into the forefront, it's not going to go so well. But if you understand your position and allow that to glow, you're going to do really well. So your message from the tarot is the Four of Ariel. When you give, you also receive, being resistant to change, extremes in how you spend or save money. Money can also be seen as time. This is saying make sure that what you're doing is the correct thing in the moment. There's a time for play and relax. There's a time for work, and there's a time for relationships. There's a time for solidarity or solitary time. You have all these different energies that are being swirled around you, and what the Four of Ariel is saying, understand when things happen in their proper seasons. You're not going to force a flower to bloom. You're not going to force the river to move uphill. What you are going to do is find the right timing for things. The fruit trees bloom in their season, the flowers bloom in their season. And if left to nature, things happen in their natural course. And that's what they're saying is tap into that. Daytime, work time. Nighttime, relax time. That if you go back to, how we were back in the 1800s, usually you were only up a few hours after dark because it was time to go to bed. And that was how life rolled. There was a few things that went there, but we have such an overstimulation of awareness now that we have lost that ability to find the balance, the proper thing in its proper time. We've lost that because we're so focused on how much can we accomplish. And Four of Ariel is like, you're going to accomplish what you're going to accomplish, but don't forget to take care of yourself in the process. Your fourth week's guide or guardian is number 1 in this, and this ties into the Four of Ariel with balance. When you understand the balance, the work-life balance, the social at home life balance, the creative versus logical balance, things tend to settle in a lot better. And this also ties back into that energy of sensuality. When we get in clear with our senses and we start to really pay attention with all 5 or 6 or plus of them, we understand what balance really means. Because when you live in that state, when you live in the now moment where you, especially if you're on certain spiritual paths, you walk between worlds is the term, it's because you understand the spiritual side and you're in contact with it. You also understand the material side and you're in contact with that. But you stand in the middle holding them in balance. There's a great quote from a movie and a book that I really like, The Mists of Avalon, where the goddess holds all things in balance, the beauty and the terrifying, the creative and the harrowing. So you have this belief and understanding that you're going to have both in life. That's just how it is. You're not going to just walk down the spiritual path being rainbows and butterflies and unicorn farts. No, you're going to walk down the path going, this rose is really beautiful. Why is it growing out of poo? Because you have to have the balance. Nothing grows from pure light. If you try to grow a plant in pure light, it will die. There's a few experiments you'll see where they'll grow algae or something, but it does better when it has a light-dark cycle. And that's what they're saying with this balance is understand there's an active time, there's a quiet time. There's a work time, there's a pleasure time. There's a rest time, there's an awake. All of these things come into balance. And this fourth week is reminding you things are going well, things are happening, but don't forget to hold that balance as much as you can. Your message from Source is the plunge. Don't hold back. It's time to go and dive in. This is that, again, your energy of when it's time to move, move. When it's time to stop, stop. Don't try to push your cart sideways. Don't try to run around and say, I'm going to do all these things. When you're already exhausted, you cannot pour from an empty cup. But when your cup is full, you can take that dive and things happen quickly. And that's the energy that Source wants you to understand is in proper time, you'll take that plunge and you won't even have to think about it. It's going to be the easiest thing in the world to do because you're ready, you're revived, you're full of life for that purpose. So when it happens, you just jump right in. You don't even think about it because it's the next thing. Other people will watch and go, why is water doing that? They're so far ahead of where I thought they were. Because you're not seeing what's going on behind the scenes. Water knows. So when you get that urge to take that plunge, see how things play out for you. Your message from the tarot is number 13, Peace. I believe this is the death card. in Standard Tarot, and it's Archangel Azrael, releasing the past. There's more enriching futures. Let go, let God. This is where you get to experience life freely. When you find that peace, when you find your inner balance, and you take the plunge into the creative aspect of life, the peace comes. Sometimes you have to let go of the past. When you die to your past, you're not going to forget the lessons, so don't think you're going to forget your history, but you're not emotionally carrying it anymore. And when you release that energy, and that's not easy, it can take some work, all of a sudden you find peace. And when we do that and we tap into this go with the flow energy water, which is a big part of your life, that's when you can let go, let God, let Source lead. And what's interesting is when you tap into your divine will and you say, you know what, these are my goals, how can we do this, is there something I need to adjust? The shifts happen so rapidly and so cleanly, and it doesn't bother you to have a door closed. The door closes, you look around, you find the window, because that's what you do. And that's the energy that's coming up here for this 4th week. Let's take a peek at our 5th and final week, and we'll wrap this reading up. We have number 16 and Grace. Water, everything you do this month, people are going to look at you and be like, how are you doing this? You make it look easy. Whether it is easy or not to you, everyone else is going to see it as this is easy. This is a flow state. You're just cruising along doing your thing, but that's that grace. This is the grace that comes from God's source. This is the grace and blessing of being in harmony with your soul, with your higher self, with all of your guides and guardians and God's source. When you walk that path, things are going to be not smooth, but they're going to appear that way because you have your faith, you have your strength in the things that are important. You're holding true to the values that are your values, not someone else's, not some church doctrine that says you have to and you're like, this is weird, or not from some coworker or some spouse that's like, you have to do it my way or else. No. If you do it for the right reasons within yourself that reflect out, it's going to be that smooth feel to life. You're still going to have your bumps, but you understand why they happen. And that's going to show up as grace. People are going to see it and be like, wow. But it's also the grace of forgiveness of yourself, of other people, of mistakes that were made. It's really, this last week is wrapping things up, saying your success is yours when you understand what that actually means. And that's not always easy. Your message from Source is the wishing well, unexpected gifts, kindness, and karmic jewels. There's a karmic pattern or cycle that is wrapping up this month for you, Water. If it's been a struggle for a period of time because Source is trying to remind you of who you are, and you've beating your head against a wall because you're like, this isn't the right way, I want to go this way. But when you stop doing that and you see that there's a doorway right next to you that you can go through, this is where things happen. The wishing well is saying, this is what I'm looking for. How can I do this? Is there something in the way, or is there something better that I can look towards? When you really understand that when we're putting out wishes, quote unquote, or we're putting out manifestations and affirmations, what we're doing is saying this or something better. What would be the best possible option for me in this moment to God's source? And when you do that, you start to see things aren't always as weird as or easily answered as we originally thought. A lot of the times when that happens, it comes forth with the question or the answer of, that's not going to be the best option, that's your ego talking, but this is going to be the best option. It's going to help you, other people, you're going to expand and spiritually grow. And when we start to listen to that, we shift our awareness to the better option, because God's source is leading us and we're working with that energy, and things tend to work out a little bit better. You're still going to have your ups and downs. I will never tell you that it's only going to be rainbows and butterflies and unicorn farts, because it doesn't work that way. We're human. We have lessons to learn. That's why we're here. And those lessons help develop us as people. And so that's what this is saying, is when you get into that aligned state, when you cast out that manifestation or that affirmation, that wish, and say, this is what I want, or something better, Source will help you guide you in the right direction. And that's where that grace comes into play as well. So your last message from the tarot is the 5 of Michael. This one in this particular deck is more of a heads up. Careful what direction you're pointing here. And it says the situation doesn't serve you. Release your attachment to the outcome. Consider taking an uplifting approach. And this ties into that whole belief of what we were talking about before on this 5th week. When you put out an intention, be open to this or something better, and allow Source to guide you to the thing that your soul is most aligned with. Sometimes the ego gets involved, and the ego can be a stubborn little monster. But when it does, it's subtle. When it does its little subtle game, that's when you may end up in the wrong place. That's why you say this or something better when you work with Source, because the 5 of Michael energy is saying don't get too attached to only one outcome. Success is not, this is the point on the map. Success is, okay, I've achieved this, what's next? Because you can keep building on your successes and your abundance, and things keep improving, but your challenges might grow at the same rate, so just be aware of that. Overall, though, this month looks really good for our water family. There's going to be a lot of growth, a lot of things moving in the right direction, and I keep hearing this karmic cycle coming to a close by the end of the month, so see how that plays out for you. You might end up in a really cool spot, and like I said, let me know in the comments down below how this resonates for you, or if you if you saw something different in the cards, and I will see you in the next video.